One of the complaints people who are new to C# have is that when you're creating a really simple application, there's a lot of ceremony around that. But maybe that doesn't have to be. Let's mash on that. Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of the Asp.Net Monsters. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at top-level somethings. Depending on the blog post that you read, these are either top-level programs or top-level statements. So they're top-level somethings anyway. But what I have here is a pretty standard-looking program that I just got doing a file new project and then changing to .NET 5, of course, because for some reason that Dave thinks is related to LTS releases. Everything defaults to .NET Core 3.1 on a new project. So yeah, this is the sort of thing that we would see. So we're bringing in system, we're setting up some sort of a namespace for our application. We have a class, and then inside of that class, we have static void main, args, and we can print out something within that. But this is kind of like, I agree that this is a lot of ceremony. So we are doing a lot of things in here. And if you are brand new to C# programming or brand new to programming at all, there's a lot of concepts in here to think about, right? Like you need to know about namespaces and classes and what the heck static is and who void is and what's this string array args thing and why is it grayed out. So we can actually make use of these new top-level whatevers they are. Let's call them top-level programs for the purposes of this, even though I've called them top-level statements here. So this is a new C# 9 feature, and it lets us do away with a lot of this ceremony. So we can actually get rid of all these namespaces, classes, and even the static void, and reduce everything down to just this couple of lines here. So now minimum program is just using system and console.writeLine hello world. So sorry, it's kind of small. That's all you need to do. So what happens behind the scenes is that the compiler actually injects all of that ceremony for you. But you can get away now with writing entire applications in here without really any sort of a problem. So I think you can also do a lot of fun things too in here is that you can use async inside of here. So if we had something like desire to make an HTTP call using our HTTP client, I think will bring that in for me. Then we can go ahead and like get a URL here. So console line get. We'll just give us well, we're kind of Microsoft-y, so there's a Bing.com or something, right? They use as a search engine.
Sure.
You get points when you use Bing. You can redeem it for gift cards.
Oh, really? What can you buy with those gift cards?
Xbox stuff.
That's awesome.
Sometimes you can redeem them for entries into a draw for an Xbox, that kind of thing.
Wow. Okay. So it printed out a bunch of stuff, which is, you just have to take my word for it that this is Bing.
I believe you.
Good. I'm glad. I didn't know how I was going to prove it to you. So that did all of the async stuff for us, which is super nice. And then you can even do kind of really basic command line parsing stuff with this too. So you can do things like hello. We'll change this to one of those format strings. And I'll try to remember not to put the $sign here. I would say 50% of the time I put a $sign here because that's what's needed in JavaScript.
Me too.
And 50% of the time I get a runtime error in JavaScript for not being able to figure out what I'm trying to merge.
Yeah,
50%,
okay.
That's low. Good for you.
So let me just give this a command line parameter. Need a name. Frank is a good name. So I got that hello Frank.
I saw
Now,
a flash up on the screen.
Would you be
there.
able to search Bing for Frank?
That's probably
But
That's-
why?
That's too much.
Well, is it as simple as like passing it like Q equals?
Oh, probably.
Maybe. No $sign. I don't know how we're gonna know if this has succeeded or not, even if
We'll just take our word
we
for
did
it.
it.
It's /search $Q.
I was close. /search. Ooh, it felt like there was more stuff there.
There was definitely more Frank. There's a lot of Frank out there. That's the thing.
That felt like a heavier
Yeah,
response.
look. The tragic truth about Frank Sinatra.
Wow. Okay,
They
very
covered that
cool.
all
Well,
in 11 minutes and 56 seconds.
so I did. I've done a bunch of the hour of code stuff at schools, and when I've used C# in some of the classes, you are absolutely right. Like the number of missed curly braces for simple things, like like we usually start with some read line, write line stuff and things like that, and the number of curly braces missed in the trying to wrap their head around functions and stuff like that. That moving that away and kind of making it more accessible is definitely a really interesting concept. It makes it very teachable. You can start to layer in those things as you need them.
Yeah, I think, Simon, we were kind of chatting about this a while ago, and your initial thought was maybe that, why do we really need this? Which kind of led me to think a bit that, like most real applications that we build, we're probably not going to bother with this because, the program main is usually generated for us anyway in most of the like apps that we build. But I don't think we should discount that learning aspect of it. I think for us who've been programming for a while, especially using C-based languages, we see all that kind of craft around it, that ceremony around the actual code that's going to run. And our brain kind of automatically filtered it out for us.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for those that are learning from scratch, like you said, James, for something like an hour of code, it's just more things to not understand when you're trying to figure out what's going on here.
I wonder too if there's, again, with a little bit of experience, I don't think it really gets in the way, but this starts to make it feel a little more script-like in terms of just being able to drop 10 lines of code and maybe perhaps do something on the command line. I'd have to think a little bit more about the usefulness of that though, but I feel like you lose some aspects of your startup and whatnot of your application and those other types of things that we're usually concerned about, loading configuration and those kinds of things. But if you're able to do some args parsing and whatnot, then maybe there's some level of usefulness there.
I could see it being useful for something like if you do the Advent of Code, the programming challenge,
right?
That happens before Christmas every year. This would be kind of an interesting thing to use there, just to simplify some of your code.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I guess my argument around it was that it feels like there's been a lot of work done on this feature, and to me there are a lot of things in the language that I would rather they spend time on rather than this sort of stuff.
I'm totally okay with them spending time on it if it means that it makes the language more accessible to folks that are learning programming.
Yes. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that. I think that makes a lot of sense to give people that easier ramp up into it. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us on today's episode of the Asp.Net Monsters. Remember to like, comment, and share, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Cheers.